Welcome, everybody, to Casing the Joint, brought to you by the Boyertown Museum of Historic Vehicles. I'm Kendra.
I'm Dan.
And that's Dan.
Hi.
Switching it up. So here on Casing the Joint, we like to take a smaller item in our collection and tell you a little bit about it, the things that we keep in the cases usually. But today we're going to do this a little differently. I'm gonna switch it up again on you. So we are gonna case this whole joint.
Okay.
Up
Yeah.
here.
Case the joint.
Yeah, the whole thing.
This joint.
That's right. The
The
whole room.
Carriage joint.
Exactly. This whole carriage joint. So this is our Carriage Barn. Now we're filming this in late February, and we opened this a little before Christmas. So this has been open for about 10 weeks. It's the newest part of our museum. And we're really proud of it. It still smells
Wonderful.
nice barn wood in here. It's a good smell to it. I think we all breathed in deep when we walked in just now. So the Carriage Barn is essentially, it's attached to our carriage factory, if you've been here before, by a little walkway. I don't know when the whole idea for this started. It was kind of brought up a couple years ago, like, oh, we need more space for our carriages. And
Could have been, yeah.
we didn't really have a space. And I'm not sure what happened, but at some point we walked by here and it was like, why don't we use this room?
Yeah, and what was this room?
A mess.
What did we call it?
We used to call this room the dungeon.
Yeah.
Because it was dark. It's cement block, cement floor, drab, was
Yes.
not well lit.
Right. But what is it about? Maybe 1/3 of it was our library.
Yes, maybe that's where this all started, because we
And that got
moved the
moved.
library
Right.
out of here. We had like a smaller building built inside of here almost.
Yeah.
And that's where the library was. So we moved the library to a building across the street. It's the building where our rose garden is outside of there. That's the library. So then we suddenly had this room that we weren't really making good use of. And we decided to spruce it up and make it our new carriage annex, which we have now dubbed it the Carriage Barn.
Dubbed.
Yes. So we had all of the block and concrete and steel in here hidden, because this really was part of the truck body factory. And it's kind of just sheathed in wood here. We had this all covered up.
And sheathed is a right word, too.
It is. It's a
The
lot.
ceiling, the floor, everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
Even this big beam above our heads is a steel beam. And, we just kind of clad it in wood so it looked like a barn beam, really. The floor, we were fortunate enough, another company that has done some demo work for us knew we were working up here, and they were getting rid of a barn, I think in Bucks County, and asked if we needed barn wood.
Of course we
So
do.
this came out of a barn that was being torn down, so we saved that. I love it too. There's a couple patches in here when you walk in with metal plates on the beams, because that was how they repaired it, like a big knot hole or something. They'd put these metal plates on it, so you can see some of those as you walk through here, which super cool.
Which I'm looking for now.
Super cool. I see one kind of right in front of me.
Okay.
And even as we were building this, we realized we have a lot of carriages and the floor space isn't a lot. So then we came up with this idea of the kind of catwalk on the one side. It's very skiddy. And then behind us, the kind of loft area that we could fit sleighs up there. So, and then also, so we have the 1872 carriage factory already, and pretty much everything in there is a Boyertown built carriage. But we had a lot of carriages that weren't Boyertown built, and it never really seemed right to put them in there, because you'd think you'd want to keep the ones that were actually built there in there. So this is essentially the home for the non-Boyertown pieces. And we have some really neat things in here. And I'm not going to go too much into depth on them because
we want those people to come in and
we
look
want
at
you
them.
to come see them. But rest assured, there's some really neat things in here you won't find very many places. The big yellow thing behind us being one of them. This is a skeleton brake. It was used to train horses. You don't see many of these around anymore because they were work vehicles.
I never saw any of them before
Right.
summer.
I didn't know what this was till we saw it in person, and then they explained it, and it was like, we need that because that's a neat story in the whole transportation thing that we don't talk about. You know, you couldn't just put any horse up to a carriage and expect it to know what to do. You had to train that horse. So this is a training piece. We have some things here that weren't built in Pennsylvania, this being an example. We've got a Bavarian coach back there, which that might be its own episode someday.
Came from Bavaria.
Bavaria, yes, by way of the Smithsonian on a very adventurous trip down here.
And then we got the hearse made in England.
And then the hearse, which was funny, the hearse we've had for a long time.
Right.
Hearse has been in the gallery on display for many, many years. And I mean, I always thought the hearse was really pretty, but I never really heard the visitors talk about it until we moved it. And then everyone's asking, where'd your hearse go? That thing was so cool. And it's now up here in the Carriage Barn. So come back and visit it if you missed it before.
We had visitors here after it got moved up, but this room wasn't open yet. And I can't remember, it might have been Diner Day.
Yeah.
We had a family here and they have 3 younger children. And I'm always asking the visitors, you know, do you have any questions or something? They said, no, we're all right. And they walk. Well, the mom and their daughter comes, who's like 6 or 7 years old. And the mom says, she has a question. And the little girl says, where's the hearse? I forget if she called it a hearse or a wagon that carried dead people. Or so I don't know. And I says, well, we have it in another room that's, you know, it's kind of closed right now. It's not open to the visitors. And okay, we'll come back or something. It was such a nice family. I'll tell you what, make sure don't tell anybody and don't let anybody see you come in here. And so we came in here and it was just so neat. They were so happy they came in and said, oh, there it is. And you know, of course I had to brag about everything else in this room, so.
Because there is neat stuff in here.
But I look at this is kind of like, we'll say the business side of the museum. You do that and you know, they'll probably be back. Yeah. So.
We hope so. We hope so. We hope they like their
they were local.
This room probably wasn't done either when they were up here, so. It might not have had quite everything in it.
Yeah, it was pretty much done, if I remember right.
Some
but
tweaking.
Yeah, some tweaking. Yes, okay. All right.
But we have Pennsylvania pieces here too. Looking at 2 that are off camera. And there's one back here that was built in the Exton area by Wolfington.
Okay.
Which is still around. I was driving down that area the other day and I just passed by them and I thought about the really fancy Rockaway carriage up here that they built. So there's a lot of neat stuff up here. And we hope you'll take advantage of this new area. It might be a little tricky to find. If you can't quite figure out how to get in here, just make sure you ask the people at the front desk, or if there's volunteers, docents around, ask them how to get in here. It's really worth the trip. And if you come back at Christmas time, we will have it all decked out in Christmas decorations. We tried to make it look sort of Victorian-esque, how they would have decorated, and it looked really nice in here too.
It is. Yeah.
That's how we opened it. We had our big opening as like a Christmas open house kind of thing, and it's a neat atmosphere in here. I love coming in here. Even just by myself, and I don't even really do anything. I just take a few minutes and I just check it out and enjoy.
And there's something else I wanted to point out, and you know, we have this this vehicle behind us here. And here's what's identifying is this little sign here. And it says skeleton brake circa 1890, please do not touch. Okay, if you go down our gallery, we have signs that explain a bunch of stuff here. Okay, this is all that's in the vehicles, and even the carriages, which, you know, you can't read anything up there. At least I can't, it's too far away. But as you enter here, we have brochures you can take, and this has number 8. You go there for the carriages, you pull that brochure up, and number 8 and tells you a lot more about it, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
So I wanted to point that out.
You can take those home. The
Right.
brochures.
Yes.
Not the carriage. Don't take the carriage home. But you can take the brochures home if you want to remember something, or, you know, and those, you know, we'll update those too as we are learning more about some of these pieces. We'll update those as well. We actually do have some questions on some of these. We don't have a lot of information on some of them. Some of them we are a little spotty on, but research continues, as always. So
Continuing education.
that's right, continuing education. So please make sure that you don't miss the Carriage Barn the next time you're here. I know it's a little out of the way, but it's worth it, and you'll really see some, I think, some real showstoppers in here. There's some really unique stuff up here. So please check it out, and that is that's this unconventional episode of Casing the Joint. We're just really proud of this space, and we wanted to show it off.
Yep.
And make sure you knew about it, and it's a reason to come back if you haven't been in a while. Definitely a reason to come back. Thank you, and then we will see you next time.